Hey there viewers, in today's video we will discuss Warner's pushback on Trump's threat to deploy federal troops to quell an unrest. But before starting the video, if you have not subscribed to my channel Beaming Wink, please subscribe it. So, President Trump, in a conference call Monday with the nation's governors, threatened to deploy the US military to restore order unless states hit by days of unrest put down violent demonstration, arguing leaders to dominate lawbreakers or risk looking like a bunch of jerks. The upbraiding from the White House didn't sit well with many governors who have been busy responding to clashes between the protesters and law enforcement in the dozens of US cities sparked by the death due to a vexation a week ago of George Floyd, after a Minneapolis police officer knelt on his neck. Trump took a tough line with the governors, saying he was putting Attorney General Bill Barr in charge of the federal law enforcement response. The president said the White House was strongly looking for arrests. You may have to arrest people and you have to try people and they have to go to jail for long periods of time, the president said. If people are running amok, you have to dominate. If you aren't dominating, you're wasting your time, he said. They're going to run over you. You're going to look like a bunch of jerks. It's a movement. If you don't put it down, it will get worse and worse, Trump said. The only thing it is successful is when you're weak, and most of you are weak. The call followed yet another night of the unrest Sunday over the May 25th death of Floyd, and came on the same day that the president urged in a Rose Garden address that the governors deploy National Guard troops to quell the unrest. He also mentioned, if a city or state refuses to take the action that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them, he said. In a nation's capital where US Secret Service uniformed officers, military police, and other law enforcement on Monday fired tear gas on peaceful protesters outside of the White House, Trump said he was already dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property. While some governors such as South Carolina Henry McMaster and Republicans praised Trump's call for a crackdown, others took umbrage at the president's combative tone and questioned his authority to deploy federal troops to the state. In Macon, where police and protesters have skirmished in Grand Rapids despite many demonstrations remaining peaceful, Gretchen Whitmer, a Democrat, called the president's remark dangerous and said they should be gravely concerned to all Americans. The president comments, she said, sent a clear signal that his administration is determined to sow the seeds of hatred and division, which I fear will only lead to more violence and destruction. We must reject this way of thinking. This is most that calls for empathy, humanity, and unity. Whitmer said in a statement, this is one of the most challenging periods in our nation's history, but as Americans, we must remember our enemy is a racial injustice, not one another. The Republican governor of Massachusetts, Charlie Burger, said he wasn't surprised by the president's incendiary words. At so many times during these last several weeks, when the country needed compassion and leadership the most, it simply was nowhere to be found, he said following the phone call with Trump. Instead, we got bitterness, combativeness, and self-interest. That's not what we need in Boston. It's not what we need right now in Massachusetts, he said as his voice cracked with emotion, and it's definitely not what we need across this country or ours either. Washington, a Democrat, calls the president remarks the rantings of an insecure man trying to look strong after building his entire political career on racism. On the subject of deploying of federal troops, Democratic New York Andrew Cuomo told CNN that he would respond to such an offer by saying thank you, but no thank you. He wants to make his about looting because he don't want to talk about the killing of Mr. Floyd, Cuomo said. He does not want to really talk about racism and discrimination. In the conference call, Linus Gov GB Pritzker, a Democrat, warned the president that the rhetoric coming out of the White House is making it worse, to which Trump snapped back, "I don't like your rhetoric that much either." Pritzker, speaking later on CNN, remarked, "Well, it's illegal. We cannot do it. We cannot request military assistance here in state of illness. Yet imagine why a governor is going to do that. This is ridiculous," he said. Kentucky Democratic Gov Andy Beshear was reportedly not on the call with the president. Beshear was instead talking with the mother of Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old African-American resident of Louisville who was killed in March by police executing a no-knock warrant. The president did praise one Democratic governor for his response to the unrest. But another point in the call, Trump called Minnesota a laughing stock all the world. Walz said Monday that he responded by saying, "No one's laughing here. We are in pain. We are crying. Saw a man lose his life in front of them, and our challenge is that this is about social trust, social compact, and re-establishing faith in the people who are there to serve them." Well, that was all in today's video. If you liked the video, then share it. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button.